Now, most people have heard of the legendary opera singers Luciano Pavarotti, Maria Callas, Dame Joan Sutherland, Jessie Norman, the list goes on. Well, a new name is about to join that distinguished panel. Omo Bello is a French-Nigerian soprano whose singing has won her legions of fans and led to sell-out performances at some of the world's leading opera venues, including London's Royal Albert Hall. And as if that wasn't enough, Omo is also a goodwill ambassador for the humanitarian peace organisation Rotary International. Not bad, considering that she originally wanted to be a cell biologist. Well, Omo now joins me in the studio. But before we meet her, let's hear her in action. Omo Bello, welcome. You were about to say something before we cut back to you in the studio. You couldn't believe yourself there.
Well, yes, it brought back very lovely memories. So I was daydreaming.
But it is actually a beautiful piece of music. Tell us about it.
It's from the opera Romeo and Juliette. So in French, that's Romeo et Juliette, and it's by the French composer Gounod, Charles Gounod. And so this is Juliette's big waltz where she's singing about life and love and how she just wants to enjoy life and be happy and
I mean, it is a beautiful piece as well, and vocally very challenging, because, yes, you've got the piano accompaniment, but you're almost leading that as well with these very high notes.
Absolutely, and yes, it has to be a sort of a forward energy all the time, because the aria has a lot of energy, and it has a lot of brilliance and virtuoso work to it. So it's, yeah, but that part of the work must not be seen on stage. Sure. You have to only show the vibrant energy and the fun.
Because it's a very familiar piece of music to many people as well. They've heard it in some way, shape or form. So is it a regular staple of your repertoire, or is it just one of those things that occasionally you like to surprise the audience with?
Oh, no, it's absolutely a part of my repertoire. It's a role that I love to sing, that I have sung once. And yes, it's perfect for my voice, so and my temperament. And yes, it's definitely a part of my repertoire.
Now, you're a very busy lady, and I think we got a sense of that from my introduction, because you were actually performing at the Royal Albert Hall last night. Yes. And to people who don't know about the Royal Albert Hall, it really is the bee's knees of London venues, because it's where we have the annual Promenade concerts as well. So for you, it must be an incredible honour. And do you find it really overwhelming performing there, or is it... No, let's just go for it.
Well, actually, a little mistake. It was at the Royal Festival Hall.
The Royal Festival Hall, yes. I beg your pardon.
Yes,
it's still a very prestigious event.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. It was wonderful. The hall was sold out, and it was another French opera called L'Enfant et les Sortilèges by Ravel. And no, on the contrary, I didn't have any stage fright whatsoever, which is a very good sign.
Do you get stage fright at all?
Sometimes. But this particular last night, no, not at all. And so for me, it was sort of a very good sign, and the energy was very good. I think it also has something to do with the energy coming from the public, and they laughed a lot, and it was really fantastic. So
yeah, you have built up a phenomenal legion of fans behind you, so you are certainly a face to watch. But I found your journey towards opera really interesting, because originally you were a scientist, really. You were studying cell structure and genetics, so that's not exactly a conventional shift to go from science to music.
No, not at all. But I would say that it wasn't so hard for me, because first of all, I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and that means that I was born in a city without an opera house nor a conservatoire, which is a music conservatory. And so that meant that even though I had this passion for music, I couldn't do anything professionally with it.
This must have been so frustrating.
Yes, absolutely. And so I made do with what I had, and that meant singing in the church choir, singing, studying a little bit at the music school in Lagos, and of course I couldn't say to my parents that I wanted to be a singer.
Well, that's
absolutely not.
But they've supported that, or it's like, no, stick to science, it's safer.
Stick to science is absolutely safer. And so, of course, like a proper child of a middle-class Nigerian family, I stuck to the sciences. And but the passion was growing very intensely within me, and the only outlet for me was in these areas that I had mentioned. So up to the point where I was able to get a French government scholarship that permitted me to finish my scientific life and embark on my
and embrace it on this new one when you've never looked back. I mean, time is running very, very tight, but I also know that you're really passionate about your humanitarian work. How do you manage to use opera in pushing that humanitarian agenda? How does it get people together?
It's because my story is very unique, and so it tends to, get attention. And so I use that as often as I can, wherever the occasion arises, to speak about, my story and speak about the fact that music is a language that touches everybody. Music is a means to reach people, and it's a universal language, so everybody understands it. And so for me, it's a very important part of my life to be able to do humanitarian work.
And the other thing as well is that, just looking at your CV, it's incredibly impressive as well, because you've won some very important awards in Italian, French opera, etc. But is there one particular role that you really, really want to get because you just know it's going to challenge you in a way that perhaps the others haven't so far?
Oh.
This is the unfair question.
Oh, because there's so much beautiful music that I want to sing. I'm the type of person who is very hungry for adventure and for new things and discovering things. Lots of Mozart operas, lots of Verdi operas, Bellini operas, Donizetti operas. I just want to do all of them, I mean, there's just one lifetime, I know, but,
Well, you're young as well, so you can do it.
Yes, I have time, and so, yes, there's a lot of beautiful music that I'm waiting to discover.
And you're on tour as well at the moment, I take it, is that correct?
Yes.
And how's that tour gone so far, and where are you off to next when you leave London?
And so I go back to Paris to change my suitcases, and then I go off to Greece. My next concert is in Athens. From there I go to Budapest and to Amsterdam, etc., etc.
And have you noticed as well, when you go back to Nigeria, in 45 seconds, do you find that perhaps people are more receptive to opera, perhaps in the way that they weren't before?
Absolutely. That aria, the Juliette aria, I sang it in Abuja, in the huge Congress Hall, and it was amazing. By the end of the aria, the whole hall of 2,000 people were up, standing, applauding like never before. They had no idea about this type of music, and they didn't have the training of a prim and proper classical music audience that we have here. And it was just crazy. The whole hall went wild. And so that's proof for me that music speaks to everybody.
Right, so it's possible that there's some opera singers out there, would-be opera singers, who've been inspired by your journey. But, Omo, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll touch base again. Thank you.